Welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. So this video we are going to proceed to working towards getting our Flathead mounted on our engine run stand and get it closer to being a runner. This footage was taken over the last few months, and something that has been in the background as we work on everything else that you see on a regular basis. It is a constant 3 steps forward, 2 steps back progression on working to getting this beast running, and it's something I think it's applicable specifically to flatheads but seeing as this is my first flathead and the first time I've put an engine together and put it on a run stand, as opposed to putting an engine together, putting it in the car and getting it running. Very similar process, though it's a lot easier on the engine run stand to get there at some point. It is something that I think is applicable to any engine. It could be a K24 Honda, it could be a small block Chevy, it could be an LS motor. All the things you need fuel, you need compression, you need ignition, and it all has to happen approximately the same in an optimal timing. So anyways, enjoy this update on the Flathead and our hopeful, inevitable conclusion of it running. Okay, so trying to finish up our race 8BA Flathead. We placed a lot of stuff on order, and it didn't come, and it didn't come, and it didn't come, and then all of a sudden it all showed up. So big thing was we were waiting for the ARP head stud kit, and at one point we were told it wasn't going to get here until sometime towards the end of August. So we started gathering the materials to do it kind of piecemeal, and then all of a sudden it showed up. Now, because of the dress-up qualities of this, and our engine being a race engine and pretty isn't necessary, we're going to go ahead and run these ARP nuts as opposed to the pretty acorn nuts. The pretty acorn nuts we're actually going to save for one of our other flatheads, which is going to be a Trog style hot rod build. But we also got our points, actual correct points, new old stock, and got a pile of them too. I got 5 of them. Got a coil. Have to figure out a coil tie down, hold down for that, but this is a 12 volt coil, which is going to be a little hot for these points. These points are 6 volt points for a 6 volt system, I believe. So for daily running, it's going to be a little hot for these points, but whatever. If we decide to go ahead and run this system as a on a daily, what we'll do is go ahead and put a ballast resistor in and drop it down to 9 points so we don't wear these points out too fast. Also got new old stock original truck pulley for the 8BA. Now we're going to be running an electric water pump or electric motor to turn the water pumps. However, for timing purposes and potential future applications, we're going to go ahead and run this pulley. Okay, so that didn't work. So I'm going to take all but 2 studs out, drop the head on, and then put everything back on.
It's there and it will be there
Yeah.
next year.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
F1 ain't like
It
that.
is just there. You're
But
right.
F1's not like that.
Oh, okay.
They come
change
in,
it every
they
year?
come in like I could
Like
be
moving
wrong.
the holes on a golf course
But
or
like
something?
they're
And this head is now torqued on. Ain't she pretty? Ain't that pretty? Alright. Now I need to pull pretty much all the studs off the other side and do the exact same thing. Okay, so next thing we need to do to get this thing ready for the run stand, at least in my humble opinion, is to do up the fuel lines. So I took off to my favorite industrial supply hardware store and picked up a whole bunch of tubing fittings. So that looked like should work with these fittings. Now these fittings, this one's taken out, and this is actually part of the float. It's got a float. It's the valve for fill the float bowl up. So that we can go ahead and make the lines coming back, and we got to make sure we make them in such a way it will clear the linkages, because we need we will need to set up the linkage kit on here as well, so that we can make sure that when we pull these out they clear. We're not going to hit on anything. So made a couple quick little extensions. Hopefully they'll seal. Using copper tubing, because you know, adds a little bit of octane. No, it doesn't. And made these 2 pieces here. With the idea to connect between the two And then I want to take another tube, come out here, and just curve it around and tie it into this one here. And then, like I said, connect this one and this one and this one on out. Now, it's sticking out pretty far, a lot further than is aesthetically pleasing, but this setup would likely not end up on the actual race engine. Probably do it slightly differently on the race engine, but this is setup is for the test stand on this engine. Okay, we have these rotten wires that need to come out, and I've already got the hot one out, which is the most important. I have the hot one out here, which is the most important. Then I've got ground, which probably leave it as is. I'm going to go and replace it. I just need to get some lengths of wire that'll do. And then, of course, the new points go on. We got a couple screws to anchor them. And I'm curious if there exists enough space in here for condenser, but I'm not seeing it, and I don't think it'll work the way these points are set up. I don't think this will work with a condenser. Want to make sure it's not, none of the wires are chafing, especially the hot wire. The ground wire doesn't matter if it chafes on it, whatever. Last step is going to be setting the dwell, which is of course that gap on both of them. On these multiple point setup distributors, a couple ways you can do them, set them up. Now, if this had 4 lobes, you'd have each one set up this way, and then what would happen is they'd be 90 degrees off from each other, and then one would cause a spark incident, the other one, and then that way they at high RPM they wouldn't float. Now this being a flathead, it's not going to see that high RPM. These are actually the flex plate bolts from their junkyard 454. It's the same pitch and thread and length as for a flathead Ford. So
it's not giving you the warm fuzzies?
Yeah. Quite the opposite. Ready? I haven't yet to hear it click.
No.
But those threads, some of those threads feel like they're getting close to giving.
Maybe it was 45 and not 145.
So we had this on here and over torqued the piss out of it. And the bolts were actually bottoming out on the seal, the oil slinger seal in the back. And wouldn't allow the engine to rotate. So we chased the threads. They should be good enough. We're going to try again this time. Now there's supposed to be a ring that goes on this, and those will space the head bolts out, or the bolts out. So since we do not have the rings, since we do not have the proper things, and we're tired of waiting, we're going to press ahead again, forward with the flex plate bolts from the junkyard 454, but we're going to put some washers on them to space them out. So that's still wrong, but you know, as long as you know you're wrong, what's the harm? Right? What's the harm? Alright, you should do this in at least 2 phases. We're going to do it at 50 because my torque wrench, we should do it at 20, but my torque wrench doesn't do anything at 20. It's hard, it's imperceptible. So we're going to do it first up to 50, and then we're going to do it up to 85, which is the proper torque spec. Now, we're planning on taking this off before we put it in the engine. So, otherwise we put red or at least blue Loctite on these. But we also need to put a new bearing in here. The threads might actually be completely foo-barred.
Why do you say that?
Because I keep turning it and it's not getting any tighter.
I thought you just clicked it.
No, I got one that didn't click. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to drill and heel coil this one.
It won't torque?
Won't torque. And won't rotate. I think it's right here.
Obviously touching.
Well, that was a little bit disappointing. Like I said in the intro, you end up with 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. So, next video, we're going to go ahead and talk about actually how to fix threads and some of the challenges of, you know, not double checking advice when you're given. To go ahead and use multiple sources to prevent it, and or also then making sure you got the right parts. And as always, if you're enjoying our content, please hit the like button, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Have a engine building tastic day, and until next time, be good to everybody.